I want y'all to know, before I get into this, I fully went ahead and recorded. I tried to record this already and got through all of my talking points, and I had my mic muted the whole time. So let's try this again. Hey, hi, hello again. A little bit of a difference, a little bit of a different pace this week because we've come a long way in a very short amount of time, and I wanted to address some things because transparency to me is very important. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea about my content, or even to some extent myself. I don't want a perception out there only for people's expectations to get mowed over. With some of the videos I've made so far, I think I unintentionally kind of categorized myself as an animal rights activist or an animal rights channel. And I'm here to say I'm not really an animal rights channel or activist in the sense a lot of you are used to. People in those spaces are typically abolitionists, anti-bit, and only promote positive reinforcement or whatever they interpret as force-free training, and I'm in opposition of pretty much all of that to some degree. There's only one discipline that I believe has no place on this planet, and there's no way to reform it, and that's big league padded performance. I believe wholly that with some reform and a few good hands, that the majority of other disciplines can be shifted where welfare of the animal is foremost. I believe most equipment is only abusive if the human chooses to be abusive, negligent, or chooses to remain ignorant. I think that positive reinforcement training certainly has its place, and it's definitely a tool I use, but it's not my only tool. I strongly prefer a balanced training method, a term mostly seen in dog training, but I'm sure many of you are going to look at this and realize, wait, I actually do or have done this. It works for everything from the traumatized to the belligerent, and yes, I do believe horses can be assholes. Does it mean it's personal and that they're purposefully seeking to ruin your day? Of course not. Probably. But if we're in the realm of believing that horses can carry trauma and have social bonds, then we must also believe that they have personalities and can be inherited or molded, and maybe, just maybe, that horse is actually a jackass. I can appreciate every breed and a huge array of disciplines, even if I personally have no desire to ride in them, and I think that the English versus Western rivalry is stupid and childish. I think a lot of people who enjoy showing need to be a lot more critical of the organizations they ride under, and they definitely need to be more skeptical of trainers. Critical thinking is lacking in these areas, in some aspects, at least. I think Western performance horses and disciplines, from the pleasure pen to the reining, are going to get a lot more scrutiny in the coming years, and I think it's well deserved. So what can you expect from me going forward? Well, I'll still continue the same kind of content I've been making, but you'll also start seeing more philosophy as well as takes that require a lot of nuance. There's also a business I'm kind of in the process of thinking about trying to open, so that might be a series at some point. And yes, it's horse adjacent. I don't really know what happened in the back half of 2025, but I seem to just be geared towards throwing myself at the most unconventional things without even really thinking about it, and it has worked out so far, so why not continue? Realistically, that's pretty far down the line unless I try to get a loan. I clearly still have a lot to consider with this. I'm in very early stages. There have been talks of some collaborative efforts, so we'll see where that all goes. Mostly the same old, just with more variety. Again, I wanted to be clear so no one gets any preconceived notions, even though, judging by some comments I've gotten, it's kind of already happened anyway, based off of my, oh god, what the hell is happening videos, which is fine. And people that enjoy animal rights content are, of course, more than welcome to engage as long as it remains respectful. I just wanted to be real and upfront with all of y'all. Also, because I do read comments, I'm going to be doing a little mini series on confirmation. I saw a few of you mention like, oh, now I know what downhill means after one of these last videos I did, and more comments remarking that they either knew something looked weird, they just didn't know what exactly, or they just straight up don't know what they should be looking at. It's going to be breed and discipline neutral, and I'll get into all of that in the first video in the series. And yeah, I'm just going to try to make it as easy and digestible as possible. I know how confusing and overwhelming a lot of learning confirmation guides can be. And also, if there's any subjects you want to see covered or something you've been curious about, feel free to leave suggestions below. I won't promise that everything will get covered, but I actually get a lot of inspiration for future videos from the comments. I also still need to do my podcast, so it looks like 2026 is going to be busy. Thanks again so much for all of the support. I'm really glad you're all here for the ride, and I will see y'all later, probably in a few days.